So welcome and thank you for joining the webinar today, focused on our new Symmetry mobile product. I'm Jason Chim, VP of Partner Programs and Education. I'll be your host today. First and foremost, on behalf of everybody at AMAG, we hope that you, your family, friends, and coworkers are all healthy and safe in this crazy pandemic that we're working through today. We have a lot of great things going on at AMAG, and these webinars provide important corporate updates, drive awareness to AMAG's new products and features, share best practices, and dive into unique product features that will help you differentiate your company from others when you team up with us. If you have any questions today, please type them into the question box, and we'll address as many as we can during this webinar. For those that we can't address on this webinar, we'll follow up with you after the fact. For this month, we brought back the All-Stars. We've got Jonathan Moore leading us off. He's going to give us a product announcement, which is tied to Symmetry Audio, who we team up with Zentel to provide our audio solution. And then he'll dive into our newest product, Symmetry Mobile. Kim Rayfeld will be bringing us home with staying connected with everything that AMAG is doing. Over the last 5 years, AMAG has grown beyond access control to transform ourselves into a total solution provider focusing on reducing cost, mitigating risk, and increasing compliance with external regulation. In our previous webinars, we briefly introduced what AMAG is doing in different areas of our business beyond access control to help our channel and end users solve problems in becoming an end-to-end solutions provider with a robust ecosystem of best-of-breed technology partners. All those webinars and much more are available for free on our YouTube channel, which can be found on AMAG's website, or the link in the lower left of your corner right there. If you have any questions, again, please type them into the box. Let's go ahead and turn it over to Jonathan.
Thank you, Jason, and good afternoon from the East Coast, everybody. As Jason said, I'm Jonathan Moore. I'm Director of Product Management here at AMAG, and just very briefly going to go through two topics today, starting off with a product announcement for a new integration with our strategic partner, Zentel. And we're just very briefly going to cover that. And then, as Jason said, we're going to go into some more detail on Symmetry Mobile, our new mobile credential management system, and some of the new features that we have very recently added to that I think everybody will be interested in. So with that, let's jump right in and go to the next slide. Thanks, Greg. So as I said, I'm going to start off with discussing a new integration with a Zentel product. It's the Symmetry IC Edge integration, or intelligent communication at the edge is what we're talking about. So we've recently released the new Symmetry integration with IC Edge. It's part of version 9.3.25 of our Symmetry Access Control solution and is available today to those that are interested. We obviously have previous integrations with various Zentel products, but the IC Edge integration is something we were missing, and we've added that to the product portfolio. So Zentel has obviously been a trusted AMAG partner for literally decades at this point, providing crystal clear audio solutions. A few months ago, we had the folks from Zentel join one of our webinars to provide some detailed information on their suite of products. I won't be going into as much detail as they did, so if you're interested in diving a little bit deeper into the topic, that webinar is available online, and we'll provide a link to that in the email that we send out after today's presentation. So over the last few years, Zentel has been focused on providing systems with the ability to adapt to smaller, simpler installations without losing the ability to scale at any time into a fully enterprise solution for their more demanding customers. So what Zentel's been trying to do is provide a scalable platform from small to mid-range to large. We're going to discuss just a little bit about how they've done that and where the IC Edge product in particular tends to fall. Okay, so what's really important is that all of the Zentel devices that you see on the screen right now, they can scale between all of these systems. So we're going to look at the different sort of levels or scalability here, but the Zentel hardware can really go between all of them. So you could start with IC Edge, for example, and then expand into a fully enterprise solution with the same hardware that you're already using. So it's a very flexible program and very usable from that sort of perspective. So just very simply from left to right, you can go from a simple SIP-enabled VoIP system where basically the Zentel hardware is only connected to the existing phone system or intercom system that is there today. So there's no central server, there's no licensing required, very flexible, very easy to use sort of architecture. The downside being with no central server, there's also no AMAG integration there. So some of the functionality is limited, but very convenient for those users or those customers that need that sort of thing. The IC Edge integration, I see it kind of in the middle between small and large, although it can grow really large itself as well. IC Edge is really as we said, putting the intelligence at the edge, at the actual devices themselves. So there's no central server, once again, and the first 32 Xenitel devices can be connected with no licensing required at all. After that, you can go to 64 devices with some basic licensing, and now we have a full AMAG integration, which I'm going to touch on the next slide in a little bit more detail, but that's what we're talking about today, is now we're fully integrated into this product. If you wanted to expand into a larger enterprise system, you can go to the ICX Intelligent Gateway, which we see on the right. We already have an AMAG integration with that product. We obviously already integrate into that, but that's obviously the most powerful hardware platform that can be used. It acts as a central management system, an integration server, and provides a bridge to the cloud as well for that product. So the most intense enterprise level, feature-rich level of the solution is the ICX 500, but customers can start it at any range and scale up as required. So let's jump to the next slide and take a look at why you'd want an integration in general between the access control, the AMAG Symmetry access control product, and any of those Xenitel products, right? So essentially what it comes down to is having obviously a single user interface. So essentially what we're looking at is a single UI for alarms, video, and intelligent communications all in one place, allowing for much more efficient operations and faster response times. I mean, that's obvious. If you have a user jumping between different systems that are answering the intercom on one piece of software and then trying to look at video on a separate one, they're not going to do things as quickly. The person they're talking to isn't going to have as good an experience if everything is all in one place. Beyond that, there's some other benefits to this as well, beyond just the single UI, is from the access control software, a user can actually open the door directly from there, which is a common task when we're thinking about intercoms and communication. A lot of the time, it's somebody at a door asking, hey, can you unlock so I can come in? I'm so-and-so, whoever it may be. We can also do automated responses with trigger commands in Symmetry where, in response to calls, we can have various actions that are configured that occur automatically as well. So a big benefit there. And then obviously the video integration that we have as well. So side-by-side video and audio and the ability to control the doors all in one place. That's obviously an obvious feature of the integration too. And then finally, one that you may not have thought about is from the liability side, liability protection side. The access control system is going to log all the events that occur, including the intercom calls, and that's available in reporting. So now we have a sort of audit trail of exactly what's happened, when a call was made, and what responses and actions were taken by the user in the access control software. So keep that in mind, that the liability protection and reporting here is very important too. And we're going to touch on that on the mobile side of things as well, audit trail and liability. So watch the space in the next couple of minutes. So that's really the IC Edge integration between AMAG's access control system and the Xenitel IC Edge platform. One final important point also related to what I'm going to talk about next is that Xenitel have several solutions set up. They've got some papers and use cases built. And if you're looking for more information, please reach out regarding the using Xenitel products to return to work and control the spread of infectious diseases like we're all struggling with at the moment. The goal from the Xenitel side is to provide clear communication while limiting the risk of infection, but providing solutions that can reduce personal interaction. So essentially allowing healthcare workers and other workers, obviously, to communicate without having to be right up in the same room as somebody else potentially spreading infections. So if anybody's looking for that sort of solution, please reach out and we can certainly provide more information on that. So let's jump to the next slide. And we're going to change gears and we're going to talk a little bit about Symmetry Mobile. What I'm going to start with is a very brief recap of what Symmetry Mobile is, and then we're going to go into some pretty exciting new features that we are essentially releasing this week and related to return to work functionality during this pandemic. So let's jump to the next slide. So just starting with a recap of what Symmetry Mobile is, because this is a very new product. We only released it, I don't know, about a month, maybe 6 weeks ago. And Symmetry Mobile reflects an evolution that we've gone through with regards to mobile technology at AMAG. So obviously, AMAG has had our Symmetry Blue range of Bluetooth-enabled readers. And ever since we've released that range of readers, it's come with a free mobile application that can be downloaded and used with the product. And it's been very popular, but it's had its limitations. That is an app that just anybody can download, and it auto-generates a credential that can be used with that system, but it's not tied directly into the access control system, and there's very limited control over who has access to that app, who can actually use it, who's active, who's inactive, which devices and read range and all the settings and things that are needed within a mobile sort of ecosystem. And we learned a lot through that process, quite honestly, of deploying that app. It is still available and it works just fine, but it has some limitations that we're talking about. So what we've done is we've released a new product called Symmetry Mobile, which is really a mobile credential management platform. Okay, so what this is it's an admin portal. So there's a web-based back end. You can see it on the screen at the moment. And that's where all the users, the people that have mobile credentials, are managed. So you have to essentially be in this portal in order for your credential to be managed and in order to use a mobile credential with our system. So that admin portal allows you to control which users are actually allowed to use the system, but it also provides all sorts of central configuration that I'm going to touch on as well. So rather than requiring the local user that just wants to use the mobile app to determine things like read range, we're doing that centrally. So it has central control over the entire mobile ecosystem from this admin portal, which we provide. AMAG provides that as a hosted platform, but it can also be deployed on-premise if you prefer that as well. So just pointing that out. And then the second part of Symmetry Mobile is the mobile app itself. So that's available today on the iOS and Android app stores. Anybody can go and download. You just search for Symmetry Mobile, and you can download and deploy that mobile application. Okay, so this is the new platform that we're talking about. Let's jump to the next slide, and I'm going to touch on a little bit of the features and functionality that you don't get out of just the free app. So first of all, we've really spent some time on improving the usability of the product, quite honestly. Bluetooth is great. You can get a really good read range and things like that, but it's not necessarily the fastest technology in the world. So we spent a lot of time making sure that the use of the app was quick as it could possibly be. We've literally got it down to the limitations that are stated by Bluetooth itself. I don't know that there's any technological way to do it any faster. So we've done a really good job there, I think, in terms of read speed is really, really good with this product. Secondly, we have PIN and biometric credential unlock options. So this isn't, how you unlock your phone and then use the app. That once you open up the phone and you go into the app, there is an unlock of the app itself that the user would also have to do. And once again, that's entirely controllable by the admin of the system as to what you want them to use. But a user may need to enter a PIN code on their phone, or depending on what phone they're using, they could use fingerprint or face recognition to authenticate. So this is a big advantage for a number of reasons. One, you can do multi-factor authentication, so it's additional security without having to have a keypad reader if you have mobile users. So a mobile user could authenticate on their own device without the need for a keypad reader. So additional security there with a more simple read form, which is a benefit. The other side of it is when we talk about the pandemic and return to work sort of functionality, is the fact that I'm not touching the keypad right now. I can type the PIN on my own phone, or I can authenticate on my phone without the risk of spreading infectious diseases by everybody touching the keypad. And I know what some of you are probably thinking, yes, I still have to open the door. And that's entirely true, but it's not as big an impediment as you might think. A lot of doors are obviously automatically opened. There's a lot of automatic door openers out there, which if organizations are serious, they can put those sorts of things in place. But also, if you think about it, pressing keys on a reader keypad, there's no way to do that with your elbow or to put your sleeve over your hand or something like that. Whereas opening a door, I can generally use my elbow to knock the door handle and open the door that way, right? So this really does, in my opinion, provide a real value in that you can have authentication without people having to touch the same keys on the keypad. So that's why I wanted to highlight that feature. Some of the other features that I wanted to bring to your attention today, as you can see on the slide, we have a couple of new ones that I wanted to talk about, is the ability to configure read range for specific users. So we already have the ability to control read range from the admin portal of exactly what the read ranges are, and that can be across devices. So I could say this specific type of Android phone must operate at a certain read range, and an Apple phone maybe operates at a different read range, because sometimes they have different strengths. And maybe if we want to align them all together, we might want different devices to have different read ranges. Well, now what we also have is that specific users can have that default overridden, where one user may need more range than others. You may have somebody with a disability who needs a little bit more time to get through a door or something like that. And in that case, we can actually open up their credential to where it works from further away so that they get that more time. So I think that's an important feature that we had to add. We've also added the ability, we talked about this before, but it's now there, the ability to block certain device types from being used. So, you know, if this was deployed in a government building or just another organization that restricted what types of devices are being used, we can prevent employees from actually deploying this onto a non-supported device. So over here at AMAG, we're all issued Samsung phones as part of the company policy. You know, as an example, AMAG may issue a rule that says only that type of Samsung phone can be deployed with the app. We don't want our employees using their own personal devices to come in and out. We want to control it. It must be on a company phone that we have security policies in place on, et cetera, et cetera. That control is available now. So that's been put in as part of the latest release and is available today. So a lot of interesting features. If anybody is interested, please reach out to your local AMAG sales rep to go through this in more detail. At this stage, we're going to touch on some workflows, and then we're going to go into the new functionality I wanted to talk about today. So let's go to the next slide. So I think this is important to show that the product is not just a user interface. There's workflow capability built into here. So the intention is that Symmetry Mobile is integrated into Symmetry Access Control, or is capable of integrating with other systems as well. But we have a Symmetry Access Control integration available today. So the intention is it's integrated with Symmetry ATS. I'm added into the access control system. My record is automatically pushed over to Symmetry Mobile, so nobody has to add me manually. Through that integration, I get pushed across, and an email is sent to me automatically from that system. So nobody does anything. I just get an email as a user. I'm instructed to download the mobile application, and that comes with a QR code that I then scan with the mobile app, and that loads my credential. So this is a completely distributed model, right? I can essentially enroll people globally from one location. They never have to come into a badging office. They never have to come and see me. I can do this in a completely distributed fashion, which I think it has immense benefits, particularly for large distributed organizations. Let's jump to the next slide. So now we're looking at it sort of the other way in terms of the workflow. We showed the data flowing from the access control system into mobile. Once I have that app deployed on my mobile device, I can take a selfie with my mobile phone, or I can upload a photo as well from the phone, and that's going to go back to the admin portal automatically. There's an approval process that's in place, so you can have an admin approve the photo if required, and then that photo can go all the way back to the access control system as well. So once again, no one has to come to the badging office just to get a photo taken, because it's 2020 and we should be able to do that on a mobile device at this point and not require somebody to drive down to some badging office just to have a photo taken. We can send that through this mobile technology and have that distributed as well. So I think, once again, this really shows the value through these workflows. Now bearing that in mind, let's touch on some of the new functionality that's in place as well. So let's go to the next slide. So this is really what I wanted to get to, is what we're calling the forms functionality within mobile. Will be released, I believe, later this week. I have this on my phone, and we're, like I say, within a couple of days, we should have this out and released into our production environment. But the idea here is that we're going to have configurable forms that can be used by customers to essentially extract information from their employees before these people can come back to work. So the general idea is that you would configure this to operate on a schedule. Maybe it's daily. So every morning I get an email before I come into work, maybe 7 a.m., get an email that says you have to complete the survey on your mobile app before you can come into work, right? So at that stage, I would go to the mobile device, and Greg, if you want to just click so we can see, if you see the screen's updating, exactly. So I go to the mobile device and I click on the form, and essentially it starts to go through whatever questions are set up. So we see these questions here, exactly. So, are you experiencing any of these symptoms? And I would have to answer the questions. These are just the defaults. They can be configured and additional questions can be added. That's it. Go ahead. You submit the form. And you'll see that it gives you this confirmation. Once I've submitted the form, I will get an email. My manager can also get an email, basically telling me, thanks for completing the form. And it will also tell me whether I completed it correctly or not, because I may have answered it and said, yes, I do have a fever. Yes, I'm not feeling well, or I have been in contact with somebody who's infected. And obviously, that's not going to be something where we're going to want that person to come to work. So they need to know, yes, you completed the form and you completed it, say, successfully, and you can come to work. Or thanks for completing the form, but unfortunately, it looks like you're not feeling healthy, and we would like you to please stay home today, right, until you're feeling better, something along those lines. So the idea here is that if I don't complete the form, or if I complete it where I'm not feeling well, my credential gets deactivated or expires. And that's crucial, right? So I will not be able to access the facility. And the most important part of this that we've thought about is, yes, my mobile credential expires. So obviously I'm not going to be able to use the mobile app, but my physical credential in Symmetry, as long as you have the integration set up, my physical credential will also be deactivated until such time as I'm feeling healthy, or whatever company policy may be. So it'll actually restrict access to the facility if I don't complete the form, or I've completed in such a way that it shows I'm not healthy, or whatever it may be. So the idea here is that we have an audit trail. So we're requiring our workforce to attest to the fact that they at least feel healthy and don't have any symptoms at the moment. And then we're storing that information, and then at the same time, we're deactivating anybody's credentials who is not healthy to come to work or doesn't actually complete the form. And then we're sending email notifications and letting people know exactly what they need to do. So let's jump to the next slide at this point. I'll talk a little bit more about this. So obviously, the emails themselves are configurable within the platform. So, whatever company policy is, or whatever you want to be in that email can be there. But obviously, the important information of whether they completed the form successfully, all that's available there as well. But the individual language can be configured too. And then also, if we have the manager's email address, they can be CC'd on those emails. So I know who, anybody reporting to me, I know if they're coming to work, I know how they responded, and all of that as well within the email, which is obviously crucial information for managers to have. Let's jump to the final slide. So within the admin portal, there's a number of things that are configurable. So like I said, We can do this on a daily schedule. That's probably going to be what's most common, but we can also extend that. It could do it every 3 days, once a week, whatever. We can set up different options there. That's all configurable. So every morning I could get an email and have to complete this form every day to attest that I'm healthy, or maybe once a week, whatever it may be. The questions and things, but essentially the forms are configurable in terms of what questions and things are asked as well. But then once people actually complete the form, as you can see on the screen there, it shows a little small, but it shows that I've completed the form a couple of times, and the status shows that I passed. If I want to dive into more detail, just click one more time, please, Greg. It dives into the detail here where I can actually, as an admin, see, what did Jonathan Moore say? What answers did he give? So there's a full audit trail here. So maybe if Jonathan Moore comes in and he actually ends up having the disease, we can look and say, well, you said you didn't have a fever, you said you didn't have any symptoms or anything like that. So at least we have an audit trail to show what each person answered. If somebody makes a mistake, there is also the option here to reset this to where they can get the form again. So if I accidentally or wasn't paying attention and I said, yeah, I have a fever, when I didn't, I can just call the admin, they can reset it, and I'll get the form again. And as long as I complete it correctly, my credentials are activated and everything's good to go from that point as well. So I see this as some really exciting new functionality that will be released later this week. We have it in a test environment today if anybody needs more detail immediately. And there's a lot of room for future enhancements here as well, right? So right now, this fills a very specific purpose, and that's excellent. And let me remind you, physical credentials, all mobile credentials can be used here. So even if you don't have the Symmetry Blue readers today that the mobile app would use to open doors, you could still use this to turn physical credentials on and off as well. So bear that in mind if you're just looking for the auditing capabilities. So please stay in touch. Please reach out to AMAG if you have any questions or you want any more information on this, and let us know if you have any feedback. With that, I'll hand it over to Kim with the marketing announcement.
Thank you, Jonathan. My name is Kim Rayfelt, and I am the Director of Media Relations at AMAG Technology. And before I get started, I wanted to remind you that if you have any questions about today's webinar, to please type them in the chat box. Jason and Jonathan will answer all questions at the end of the webinar. As I think most of you may have heard, GSX has decided to offer a fully virtual experience called GSX Plus. The online experience will bring together a global audience with more than 100 live and on-demand sessions from September 21st through the 25th. AMAG will be there with a marketplace space where you can learn more about our two newest solutions, Symmetry Business Intelligence, our analytics engine, and Symmetry Mobile, the app Jonathan just reviewed with you. You can reach out to our sales team and make an appointment for a demo or to learn more about the Symmetry Solution Suite. You'll find a complete list of AMAG virtual booth staff on our website at amag.com/GSX. AMAG will also be presenting a live educational session called The Real Story of How Analytics Affect Physical Security. Our own Jonathan Moore will be presenting on Wednesday, September 23rd at 10:15 Eastern Time. Jonathan will be there live to answer any questions and provide more information. We hope to see you there. Also, if you would like to receive future communications from AMAG, I encourage you to sign up using our communications form. You'll find it on our website under contact at amag.com/sign-up or SIGN-UP. Here, you can join our mailing list for Symmetry Scoop, which is our sales newsletter, Tech Talk, which is our technical newsletter. You can get event invites, webinars, or our consultant newsletter, Consultant Connection. This is the best way to always know what is happening at AMAG, including when new products are released, new training classes are scheduled, when our next customer webinar will be scheduled, and so on. I hope you are all doing well during these interesting times and staying healthy. Thanks for listening, and I will now turn it back over to Jason.
Excellent. Thank you, Kim, and thank you, Jonathan, for a fantastic webinar today. And most importantly, I want to thank everybody who is in attendance today. If you have any questions, please follow up with your regional sales manager. As always, the full webinar and previous versions are available on our YouTube channel, which you can see in the lower right of the corner there. Please stay healthy. Please stay safe. Again, thanks for joining. Join us for our next webinar, which will be October 20th. Same bat time, same bat channel at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. British. Have a great weekend.